what kind of mindset do you go with when something is not going as planned?
Okay, so I'm just gonna give you a small little secret over here on the mindset. People say I do this, so I don't do this kind of thing. When your mind tells you not to do this thing, go the opposite way. Do it. Just get strong enough, just do it and see what's gonna happen. Either you'll fail or you'll pass. But you know what? The secret of life is everybody passes in the end. I haven't seen anybody living here forever.
Hello, everyone. This is Sanjay Hegde from REI Secrets Spilled, Fast Track to Riches. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Vinki Loomba, CEO of Lumba Investment Group and fund manager for Lumba Capital Partners. And, very much like a lot of them, especially because she's from India and more from the, IT background, because that's what we are good at, right? We are either in IT or we are doctors or engineers, one of those. So yes, she does have an IT background, and she actually took the initiative of putting her 401k to work, and because she felt that the regular 401k was pretty volatile, and then she created a big empire of her own. So welcome, Vinky. We'd like to hear about your story, about how you made it from your 401k to this big businesses that you have today in the real estate.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. First of all, thanks for having me on your show. I'm really pumped up to speak to you today. This is pretty awesome. And regarding my 401k, you said it very well. I started with my 401k, and it was just like a kind of a fun game for me to get started with something. And at the time, I didn't know that I'm going to grow at that exponential level. Basically, it was like, okay, it's my kind of side hustle. That's how I started. But as I started doing it more and more, the more opportunities kept open up for me. And then I just started wailing all the opportunities around me. And before that, I was in a single family space only between me and my husband. We had a very small little portfolio, like few units only. And I got my California realtor license too at that time because I knew the power of real estate, but not at this level, maybe because my vision was only selling the homes, or residential, or selling the retail. And I was on the retail side, selling the retail or businesses. And that's how we learned about retail investing. We started doing that too, but at a very smaller scale. But fast forward, when I started investing in a syndication with my 401k, that opened like multiple doors for me at once.
Lovely. No, it's always interesting, right? A lot of people go into single family homes and then they get into the multifamily space. So a lot of those who don't know why people do that, would you like to explain to them why you feel there is more value in going into multifamily compared to the single family?
Of course, I can share my experience. About 20 years back, I think more than 20 years maybe, when we built our home, second home, you can say it. Before that, we used to have condominiums or townhomes. When you start your life, that's how you live. And then when we built our second home, we were in a position between me and my husband that we could afford two mortgages. So we rented our first home, and by default, we became landlords. And there was a positive cash flow, about $400-500. That was a lot of money during those days, And we were like super excited. We thought we figured out life, right? That's what we do in life. All our life, we're trying to figure out life. And we're doing this thing, that thing. And then we feel like, oh, we figured it out. But then there's another something big, right? So that's how we started in single family home without knowing enough or having enough knowledge. And our friend circle, few people were doing rentals, and but we didn't have enough knowledge, or we did not get enough knowledge exchange with them, like how to scale, how to do it. So we kept on doing ourselves, added few more units. And at one point, we realized it's way too much for us because we couldn't deal with the daily tenant, toilets, termites. It was like a big headache between the two corporate jobs, two young kids, and lots of travel. if you remember that. On those days, we didn't used to have something called VPN and no remote working. We used to travel a lot between me and my husband. So we couldn't handle it. So we were just like kind of, dreading to get rid of that small portfolio. And we had some, stake in the on the retail side as well. So that as well. So we thought it's like really, really painful for us. We kept it, what, 15, 20 years, slowly we got rid of it. But fast forward, when I learned about syndications, I just jumped on it. I did not think twice because I knew the power of real estate, even though it was painful, but we made money from our small portfolio. And I knew that we can make money and we can scale much faster when we are partnering with others who know the space, who has the experience, and who has been doing it for a while and have a strong track record. So I jumped on it. I just put my $100,000. That was my first investment for my 401k. And after that, there was no looking back. And now somebody asked me, oh, how much did you start with? I'm like, just 100,000. And now I'm realizing it, people wanted to start very small, like $25,000, $50,000. And my thing was, I just jumped into the opportunity because I wanted to learn so bad. So I would say there's no good and bad. You can start from anywhere, but it worked for me. But on the same note, I would say if it worked for me, it will work for anybody. It's a matter of taking chance.
Yeah, now that's the one thing that you said, Vic, is very interesting. You said, "Hey, I started this as a side hustle, and then later on, I put in my 401k money into this. I wanted to go into this. A lot of these things, which you kind of casually said, it's a lot of stress that comes with it. So I'm pretty sure you had a certain mindset at that time, like how you're gonna get into something like this. So what was your frame of mind at that time? And what kind of mindset would you suggest those people who are trying to be like, they're shying, they're on that borderline saying, should I get into real estate? Should I not get into real estate? What are the challenges? So, because, the when you have a W-2, you have that cushion. You have that. So when you get into a business full time, that's gone, right? So you need to have a strong mindset for that. So what was your mindset at that time, and what would you suggest to everybody?
I would say I just jumped. Like I said earlier, I jumped without thinking. I jumped because I knew that I will find my ground. So you need to have that much faith in yourself, or you need to have that belief in yourself that you can do it. And just do it, like Nike's ad. Just do it, because unless you try, you do not know the outcome, right? So if you're always sitting on the sideline, you're going to always be sitting on the sideline, or you're going to be always on the fence thinking, when this thing will go right, I will do it. When this thing will happen, then I will do it. And sometimes you never get an opportunity to do it. So my mind work opposite totally. I just do it and learn. I learn enough, but the thing is, my learning style is when I do it myself, when I'm hands-on, I can ask questions because I'm not hesitant of asking questions. To me, in my dictionary or in my book, the question that you do not know the answer, that question is the right question. And it might not be right in somebody else's book, but I don't care.
Yeah.
That's their book. And I am beyond the judgments or other people's validations. That's the other thing. Because a lot of people fall into the pattern, they think about that, what others gonna think, how they're gonna validate me, how they look up to me. And we started living that life. So you need to turn a little bit inwards, try to figure out who you are first and what you want in your life. And then you have so much experience in your life, right? If you're stepping into this game in the real estate investing, you might be at least 18, 20 years old. Even you're so young, but you have 18, 20 years of experience under your belt. And that experience could be anything. It could be some learning from your parents, from your society, from your friends, from your school teachers, from your school friends. You have a lot of experience, so do not underestimate yourself. Because sometimes we have something called imposter syndrome, and we just kind of get carried away in that, I do not know enough. Knowledge is power. You have learned the first 20 years of life, you learn how to learn, how to gain the knowledge, right? So use that skill set to scale, to acquire more knowledge, to add to your story. So it's very
Absolutely.
simple. The more you simplify it, the things are much, much better. And we complicate things ourselves. Instead of thinking, I do not know, just think about it. How do I figure this out? How do I acquire this knowledge? Because we are trained or we are brought up in a way to acquire more knowledge. There's no end to it. There's no end to learning, because till the last breath in your life, you're always learning. Every day you're learning something new from somebody. I would say everybody around you, because somebody has something that you do not know. Not everybody knows everything, basically, So use your skill set to acquire more knowledge, increase your perception. Bigger the perception, bigger the opportunities. You'll be better risk taker. You're going to enjoy that space, basically.
No, that was so wonderfully put, Vinki, because a lot of them think that, am I too young to get into this business? Sometimes people think that, oh my God, I don't know anything about this. Obviously, this is the beauty about being in multifamily that I have noticed, is that multifamily is a team sport. And you always, as long as you're working with the right kind of operators, seasoned operators, such as you always can take them under your wings and teach them and show them the path. Obviously, they also need to know what value do they bring to you as well. So I think that's the beauty about this. It's not like one person doing everything. It is truly a team sport. So that's one of the things that I really love about this. And as you said, taking action is the key to anything, right? If you don't take action, you're not going to get anywhere. You'll be in the same sideline that you were. And most of the time, I always look at it as like, think about what would have happened if you don't do it. Don't worry about, if I do this, what if I fail? I would not use the word fail, because I always use the word lessons learned. So to me, it is always like, hey, if not anything, you say you did not do, or things did not go as you expected, at least you learned something out of it. And then you can progress in the right direction with the right people. So, Vinki, in our world, there are a lot of schools these days that open up, that gives you mentorship programs, that gives you, a whole lot of people are out there, and the gurus, I would say, and they charge quite a bit for that. And many of the students who go in there, many of them either put in whatever savings they have, because they are sold on this thing that, okay, hey, this is a great place to be in, and also you will make that money back, which they do, but nobody tells them that it's a long term game. And then after that, many of them want to have their own deal and end up not getting into a deal at all for 6 months, 9 months, a year, and get discouraged from that as well. Some of them would have put in their, the fee on their credit card, and then they feel that they lost everything. So what's your take on that, and what would you like to tell those people who have taken the action of getting into the mentorship programs and have not been able to move forward?
So I'm going to again say that it boils down to you. It's all about you. It's your story, how you want to write it. You're the creator of your own book. So people have to understand that. And I won't say or anything wrong or blame any of the mentors out there, because they're trying to add value. And then whatever value they're providing, they put a price tag on that. And I don't see good and bad in that either, because they can provide that value and they added the price tag to that, which is okay. But as a student, as a mentee, you have to understand that this is something is for you. Do you resonate with that? Because the thing is, I'm going to give you one example right here. If a mentor does not charge anything, if you say free knowledge for everybody, I'm Grant Cardone, I'm doing everything free for you, come join my clan. How many people are going to learn? How many people are going to be successful? Because people have no value for it, whatever he's trying to share or anybody's trying to share. And I'm not vouching for Grant or anybody, because I'm not part of any school anyways, I'm just making a comment over here, because there is no value of the knowledge until unless there's a price tag. People are serious when they're putting money into something.
Exactly.
But then again, the imposter syndrome, number one, their fake beliefs, their patterns, their limitations all play a role in that. I am not good enough. Why not? So it's like something you have to work internally. First, you have to sit down, like I say that all the time, figure out what your present state is, where you are, what do you like, what do you dislike, why you're not fulfilled, where you want to go, and why you want to go there. These are all the important questions you have to ask yourself. If you're fulfilled here, if you're comfortable in the current position, you're going to do anything. You can give $100,000 to anybody, you can give $1 million to somebody, join any clan, you're not going to do anything because you are at a comfortable position and you're not going to challenge your status quo. Only things happen for the people who are unhappy with their present state and they look up to their future state. And future state is very important too. So when you look at the future state, you want to really feel it. Okay, this is my state. First of all, why I wanted to be in this state and what is going to look like when I'm there, how I'm going to feel, how I'm going to make a difference, how I'm going to add a value. Because your why has to be very, very strong. And how you're going to add value because it comes down to whatever you give out, you get tenfold back. So you have to have that mindset. When I am at my future state, what value I can add, what I'm going to give out, how I'm going to make a difference. It's not always about yourself, right? So your present state, your future state, now you figure out how to get there. Or from there, you come back and do the reverse engineering, how do I achieve that state? So it's very easy to get your GPS going for you. That's the terminology I'm going to use over here. Like, for example, I'm going to put an example here too. You said, Vinki, I'm going to have a party at my house next week, Saturday. Come to my house. You did not give me time. You did not give me address. You did not give me any directions. I just know that in future, on next week, Saturday, I'm invited. I'm going to go to that party. No matter how much I dress up, no matter how much I look good, no matter how best car I drive, I will never get there. I can just go round and round in circles. I will never get there. So this analogy is applicable to the present state and the future state to make the path or pave your path to get there, if that makes sense.
No, that was a great analogy out there because many of them, they probably understand the whys because they want to get out of their W-2. They want to get out of that. I want, some of them would like to be, I want to be my own boss or whatever that is. So or I want a good life for my family. So they understand the why, but then they get into the mentorship program. And as you said, you're right, all the mentors are out there to give, they bring value to the students. And of course, there is a price for everything. And you said something very, very important. If you give something for free, that thing will have no value. That is so absolutely correct about it. Only when you pay for something, you understand the value for it. Right. So that's really good what you just said. And the second thing I always look at it is like you mentioned that you need to know your whys, but then you need to know your direction. So this is where I think your expertise and your years of experience will help a lot of those who understood their whys. They went through the mentorship program, but now they don't. Now they are just
Absolutely.
not very clear with the address part, right? So they know the time, they know where to, what is the occasion, but they just don't know how to get to that occasion, right? So
Right. So I think that's what we're talking about. The future state is very important.
correct.
That has to be the must, right? Once you figure out your present state and you figure out who you are, why you wanted to do something, why you wanted to get out of this current state. So you could be happy. I'm not saying you have to be unhappy. You can be happy, but there has to be something so compelling that you wanted to get out of that state. Your why has to be very compelling. There has to be longing for that. Like, I have to make this happen, right? And when you go to a mentorship program, you think that I go to the mentorship program and I'm going to get everything on the silver platter. I will have a deal tomorrow. I'll be a syndicator. Guess what? The answer is no, the big no. Okay. Because you're paying for the mentorship program, no doubt. But that does not give you everything in a platter. It's just like a learning experience for you. It's going to open up the whole spectrum for you. How to learn more, how to acquire more. The best thing is the network. A lot of people don't have the network. They have very small, close-knit family or friend circle. That's about it. When you go to these mentorship program, you open up to thousands of people. You go to conferences, you meet thousands of people. But now you have to create your plan for yourself. Like saying, you have to write your own story. You have to write your story. Like, how do I leverage all these resources? How do I connect the dots? What is in it for me, right? Because basically, when you're paying for a mentorship program, you're paying for the huge network that you're tapping into. These are all the resources. Every one person in the mentorship program is a resource. It's a node. If we talk about IT language, you and me, if you understand that, it's a node. So you are just you are another node in the network. So it's a collectively of trying to process all that information, because if you do not know everything, nobody expects you to know everything day one. But you're making the right connections. So you're resourceful enough, you can tap into those resources and get the answer. That's the number one thing. Number two thing is, most of these mentorship programs, they give you lots and lots of content. So try to consume the content, not just skimming through or just thinking that, oh, I did it, I know already, because that's what our mind tells us all the time. When you say syndication fund, it's like, oh, I know a little bit, I know this. No, spend time. Just, carve out like an hour or two. It's like a daily activity, daily routine for you, that I have to consume this content. I have to do this. And I have to write at least 10 questions that I didn't understand. 5 questions, 3 questions, whatever, your criteria is. I have to come up with these questions. Why did somebody say this? What do they mean? Because their processing power is different than you. You cannot live somebody else's life. You cannot be a Grant Cardone. I'm not saying you cannot be, you can be, but in a different way. Not literally meaning by that, because that's his own life. He created his own path, but there's a lot of learning from him. We can learn the way he did everything. We don't have to reinvent the wheel like everybody says, but based on his achievements, his success, we can create our own path, which is going to be a little bit different than him, not exactly the same. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No,
If that makes sense.
No. It makes absolute sense. Like, we all have our own path. Um, a lot of the things that the mentors can do is actually show you the path in terms of like, hey, this is the path that you take, and this is how you get to your destination. But you have to take the path by yourself,
You have to
right?
walk. You have to walk
You have to
yourself.
do the walk by
Yeah.
yourself. You'll have to jump over some of those branches that have fallen around the path, probably go across the pond a little bit, all of those things. That is something so take action is the main thing in this whole thing. And of course, there's a lot of mindset to it as well. So what would you tell those people? How can they actually build a good mindset? Like for you, Vinky, what does your routine look like to keep it? Because I know that in our world, not every day is a positive day. There are ups and downs in this business, and sometimes because you're also doing two things. You're using your own money, and you're also using other people's money. So that comes with a lot of responsibility. So what kind of mindset do you go with when something is not going as planned?
Okay, so I'm just going to give you a small little secret over here on the mindset. People say, I do this, so I don't do this kind of thing. When your mind tells you not to do this thing, go the opposite way. Do it. Just get strong enough, just do it and see what's going to happen. Either you'll fail or you'll pass. But you know what? The secret of life is everybody passes in the end. I haven't seen anybody living here forever.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Right? So
Everyone
if
passes.
we all gonna pass no matter what. So what are we scared of failing?
Exactly.
Failure is not a failure. It's just like a stepping stone for us to get to the next level. We know we're gonna pass no matter what. We have a very short time.
Absolutely.
It's just like, there's a birth and death. B and D, I always say that. And there's a C in the middle. C makes us the creators. So we can do whatever we wanted to do between B and D. We know D is right here. We do not know when, but it's here, right here. Eventually we're going to get there. So do not stop yourself, and whenever The responses, I won't say responses, are the reactions. Because when you're doing something and you're doing over and over again, it's a pattern. You're following the same pattern and your reaction is always the same no matter what. So just step away a little bit and then do the opposite, whatever your mind says. Sometimes, try it once in a while. You will see a different outcome. Like they say all the time, if you're doing the same thing every time and expecting different results, that's insanity, basically, right? So try to do something different, whatever your mind says, because mind always have automated responses. Because from our previous experiences, our brain has created this story in our mind. Well, whenever the similar situation is going to come or something is known fact, our answer is going to be like this, which is going to be the automated response. But if we just take a pause, very small little pause, and then we respond, then it's going to be a response, not reaction. That response is going to be totally different, which is going to create the new result for you, new outcome for you that you can ponder on or you can build on that.
Absolutely.
It's a very simple trick to the mindset.
No, yeah, I agree with you 100% because I think the brain is wired in such a way, or I wouldn't use the word the brain is wired in such a way because I feel that we get conditioned growing up in a certain manner where our brain tries to get us in a comfort zone. And basically, we are the ones who have actually put that brain in that comfort zone because because we feel that, oh, we saw somebody fail and we say, if we do this, we're going to fail too. Instead, if you trigger your mind to think, hey, he tried doing this, he failed, but if I try it in another way, will that work? We don't look at it from that other perspective as to like, okay, I can look at the same thing and either I can do what he's doing and maybe I might get a different result because I'm not going to do exactly what he's doing, but I'll try to identify the loopholes where he probably did not succeed, the reason behind it, and try to do this differently. And that's where the mindset comes into play, is to like, I'm going to make a change to this thought process because we ourselves have conditioned our mind in because of the fear of failure. I guess that's just my thought process in that. So the mind plays a really important role in how you look at things. But Vinky, there are like why do people forget that there are many ways to get into this business? Like they can become asset managers, they can become capital raise, they can become something to get into their first deal. Why do you think that many of them get just stuck saying, I want to get my first deal?
I think that's again mindset, because that's what they know. Like I made a comment earlier, you have to increase your perception. And you mentioned multiple times that multifamily or the commercial investing is a team sport, because multiple people will come together and they make the deal happen, basically from conception to completion, right? And stepping into this world of real estate initially, right? So you might have limited knowledge and your perception is limited. The way to learn this more or understand more is, I would say the best way to do is to increase your perception. And how you can increase your perception is by going to multiple networks and connecting with different people, joining the mentorship programs, try to consume the content, whatever you can, to understand the lingo, basically. That's going to help you step up a little bit, not thinking about I, me, myself only, because one person cannot do everything anyways. I'm going to give you the example of our day-to-day life, right? Think about that. If I wanted to eat like some kind of vegetable for lunch or something, how many hands are involved in that, right? It's not like just that I just got up and I cooked the vegetable, I ate the meal. Look at behind the scenes. I'm going to ask my husband, maybe go to the grocery store, bring me this certain vegetable, right? So you go to the grocery store and there's a vegetable, you get the vegetable, but that's not an easy process either. Let's look further. How did the vegetable get there? First of all, he has to go pick up from the aisle, bring it to the cashier. Cashier's gonna, ring it, and then he pays and bring it home. Not that simple, but how did the vegetable get onto the shelf? So there's a whole story behind it too, right? So you track all the way down where it started, how the seed was planted, and how the tree or the plant came up. There's a whole storyline. So multiple hands involved. So this is the concept is applicable in every situation. Nobody is doing anything by himself or herself. That's just a gimmick. They say, oh, I'm a self-made. Did you ever think how many hands or how many people were involved in the background to make you who you are today? And I'm very, very grateful for every opportunity or every person who came into my life to bring me here. So that's the mindset. If you, kind of adapt to that, if you learn how to read in between the lines or how to see things in between the lines or in the gray area, you will understand there is much more than one role that you can play in your life or in any industry, whether it's a commercial or a corporate job, because you have the holistic picture. And then you're going to become a resource. So for me, I rather become a resource for multiple things and connecting multiple dots versus, just limiting myself that I just wanted to have my own deal only. And I'm just waiting on the right time for that to happen. And that might happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It might happen because wherever your focus goes, your energy flows. It will happen in its own time. But I rather spread myself and connect with others, partner with others who are better than me, who know better than me. So that will help me scale where I wanted to go, basically.
Awesome. Some great analogies that you put out there, Vinky. I sincerely ask everybody out there who's listening to this that these are some great analogies that Vinky has given, and something that you can relate to with your day-to-day life. Vinky, when we talk about day-to-day life, what does a day in Vinky's life look like from morning till evening?
My days are pretty hectic these days, but I am still happy. I'm very grateful for that being hectic or being that at the chaotic place. Please edit this chaotic place. My day starts early morning. I get up around 3:30, 4 o'clock. That's my wake up time. So then I wake up, I meditate, I do yoga. I spend like good 2, 3 hours with myself, sometimes 4. And I do not start my day until 7:30, basically. So 7:30, I start my day with just regular, just seeing what is in there for me for today. Because what happened is day before, I usually leave notes at my desk, like you can see it over here too. Yeah. So I have notes, whatever I was not able to accomplish last night. So I have notes over here to start my day with. So I come back and I look at it, where I left off day before, and I start from there. And then I quickly just, put the check marks, which is like, I wanted to do first, second, third, and also plan out my day with all the meetings, whether it's investor calls or what networking sessions I wanted to go, what mastermind programs I wanted to go into. And then also some dedicated time for my email, social media. I do a podcast too. So I have dedicated like my Tuesdays for my podcast only. And that's how I strategize. And in between my time, every 2 hours, I like to take, I mean, usually you should do 1 hour. I do it every 2 hours. I take 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. These days, only 10 minutes, 5, 7 minutes, basically. I take a break for myself and I just step away from my desk. Or even if I'm sitting on my desk, sometimes I close my eyes and I kind of reconnect with myself so that I'm calm throughout the day. So my workload or the things does not make me nervous or does not make me like irritated that I say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I enjoy what I do. And I am very, very grateful every moment when I'm doing something, whether I'm working or when I'm spending time for myself. I always say, thank you for this time, you know. So that's how my day goes. And literally it goes so fast. I don't even know sometimes like when it's 6 p.m. or when it's 8 p.m.
No, that's great, Vinky. So, Vinky, I know that you give so many analogies, obviously a lot from, and you try to make things very simple. So, let me ask you this: what kind of books that you read that helps you think the way you think? Obviously, I know you must have read a lot of books, and doesn't necessarily have to be something related to to real estate at all. Anything to that has enhanced you as a person and made you better.
Yeah, multiple books like everybody else, like everybody's Grow Rich, Make Friends, Stephen Covey's Good Habits. Everybody has read those books, but I'm going to recommend one good book over here that I've read multiple times. It's called Flow by Dr. Csikszentmihalyi. Csikszentmihalyi, that's what his name is. That book is really, really good. It helps you get into the flow state. And to achieve that flow state, like I was, sharing my day with you, how I spend my day, it's just like taking time in between and kind of rejuvenating or kind of reconnecting with yourself to get to the next level. And then that keeps you in the flow state all the time. Flow state is just like your activity level matches your capacity of doing things, basically. So then you don't even feel like you're working, or you're not stressed out. A lot of people talk about stressing out, time management. I have this thing less, I have that thing less. So instead of thinking that I have less, you are appreciating, oh, I have so much. Thank you so much. So when you're in that state of mind, you're attracting more towards you.
That's a beautiful one. That I have not read that book, but I definitely will check it out and read that one. It's a pretty good one because I think having a good state of mind is so important. So especially, it doesn't matter whether it is for the multifamily business, but I think in general for every human being. So yeah, no, that's great. So Vinky, I know we are you've been generous with your time for on this one. But if somebody wants to get in touch with you, because I know you're very giving, you're very loving, you like to give back to the community. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, how can they reach you?
I'm on LinkedIn. You can connect with me over LinkedIn. Other than that, you can go to my website, lumbainvest.com. You can connect with me from there. But other than that, I'm all over the social media. But LinkedIn, the best way. It's easy for people to reach out and connect there.
So
I'd love to add value to anybody, and if I can help anybody anyways, I would love to do that.
So all those guys who have been listening to this one, a couple of things that you have to take away from this one is, take action, know your whys, don't think about what others are going to think about you or how people perceive you. Be yourself, create your own path, right? And read the book Flow because you need to be more organized in this world. It doesn't matter whether it is in the real estate world or in your life. You've got to be organized. So please do read that book. I definitely am going to read that book, and we will definitely give Vinky's contact information when we post this, when this comes online. So thank you, Vinky. I appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you so much, Sanjay, for having me. I really enjoyed that.